Hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Kyla, and in this video we are going to be going over all of my most anticipated books for the first quarter of 2023. I could have definitely done a video of like the whole year, but I feel like we will be here forever. And also, I know books are gonna get announced throughout the year, so I figured I would divvy the video up into quarters. So each quarter I will do a new one of these, that way you can see what's coming out and what I'm most looking forward to. This list consists of thrillers, fantasy, and horror, because those are the genres that I usually read from, and it includes young adult and adult as well. And I think that's it, so let's just go ahead and dive into the list. So I'm sitting at my desk, I have my computer here with me, and we are going to start with January and work our way through. I thought about doing it in terms of genre, and I know that publication dates change, so that could definitely come into play, but I feel like my brain really likes the chronological order here, so that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna start with January, kicking it off with The Villa by Rachel Hawkins, which is actually already out. This published on January 3rd, and it is a thriller that I am looking forward to hesitantly, because I did not enjoy Reckless Girls, and I skipped The Wife Upstairs because I do not really enjoy domestic thrillers that much. I'm going into this a bit hesitant, also just cautiously optimistic, because I just feel like this cover is fun. The Villa makes it sound like we're gonna get some European vibes, and like I love that. Also, like, it's wintertime, so take me away, shall we? And I'm not going to read the synopsis of all of these, because one thing that I love about thriller and horror is not reading the synopsis going into it. I like knowing like the bare minimum, and that's it. So I'm just gonna throw out some like buzz things about this that caught my attention. And like I said, The Villa, just the title in itself, if it has European vibes, I'm here for it. I believe this has like a dual timeline to it, or they're just looking into the past, but either way I like when there's a kind of jump in that, so I'm here for that. And basically they go away on vacation, these characters, and a murder happens, and you know, where they're staying might be a little bit spooky. If I've learned anything from Rachel Hawkins' Reckless Girls, it's that her thrillers tend to be a little bit over the top, so I'm going into this with better expectations than last time, and hopefully it doesn't disappoint. Next, we have All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. This also is already out. Some of these I'm a little bit late to the game on, because I started making this list a while ago, but I was like, I still want to include them. So this one published on January 10th, so just a couple of days ago as I'm filming this. And this one was actually a Book of the Month selection, which kind of first caught my eye, because I was like, if it's a Book of the Month pick, it's gotta be good. Or at least my expectations are a bit higher. Really, all I know about this one is we have a main character whose son was taken in the middle of the night about a year ago, and she goes on like the chase to try to figure out what happened to him, where he is, that kind of thing. And really, with a thriller like this, I don't want to know more about it. It sounds interesting. That sounds like a very gut-wrenching, heavy plot, and I love when people start to sleuth themselves, so that's like one of my favorite things to see in books, so I'm excited about this one. And then we have The Things We Do to Our Friends, which, like that title, interesting, by Heather Darwin. This is a debut novel. This cover, I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm here for it. It looks cool. The thing that caught my eye about this book was in the synopsis. The first thing that it says is Edinburgh, Scotland. And if I know anything about that, it means that we are probably going to get some moody vibes, so maybe some dark academia vibes, and like, my soul needs that. I need it. I love dark academia. Oh, so much. Also has a friend group, which like, in my dreams I hold a knife. Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. So, I don't want to read more than that. I just know that it's a debut. It takes place in Edinburgh. You had me there. It has a friend group. You had me there. And there's some murder vibes. I mean, I'm going to show up for this book just on that alone. And if I didn't already say, I can't remember, this published on January 10th, so it's actually already out as well. It's taking everything in me to not buy this book immediately. And then we have the next in the Wayward Children series, which is Lost in the Moment by Shauna McGuire. I am only on book 2 in this series. So like, is it wrong of me to say this is one of my most anticipated when I haven't finished the rest of the series?
Maybe, but I'm still going to say it.
Because I know, even just after finishing the first 2 books, that this series has my whole heart, and like I'm going to binge it as soon as I possibly can. So I'm very much looking forward to this. It's the new one. It published, I believe, the other day. Let's check here. Yep, January 10th. Man, January 10th was like hopping for books. And I don't know where this falls in the series. I'm not reading anything about it because I don't want to be spoiled or accidentally spoiled around anything else in the series. So if you want to go and look at it, you can. But I'm like averting my eyeballs and just knowing that it did come out, and I'm very much looking forward to it. And kind of along the same lines is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. I haven't read Ninth House yet, so I'm not going to read the synopsis of this because I don't want to be spoiled, but this was the book of the month pick for January, and I selected it so I could read them both back to back, which should be happening in February for me, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So again, I'm averting my eyeballs. I know what this cover looks like. It's freaking cool. I can't wait to get it in the mail, and I'm very excited for the series. I believe this gives very much like dark academia fantasy vibes. I could be completely wrong, but from what I've heard, that's kind of where it falls into. It's kind of dark and moody, and I just love that. And finally, we get to one that hasn't been published yet, and that is What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. Now, I have not read anything from Kate Alice Marshall so far. At least I do not think so. She is an author that has been on my to-be-read list for like a really long time, especially with These Fleeting Shadows. I've seen that around. I've seen Rules for Vanishing, but I have not dove into them yet. And so yes, I'm like really anticipating this one, but also just her entire backlog. Like I shouldn't say her entire, but some of her backlog I'm also really anticipating this year. I think she's an author that I'm really going to love from what I've heard about her books and her writing style and all of that. I feel like it's kind of right in my wheelhouse. But What Lies in the Woods is about a group of friends who they had something tragic happen to them when they were around 11 years old, and they sent somebody to jail for it, and then I don't even know how long later, but years later they realized that maybe he's not the one that actually did it, and they put the wrong person in jail. Those are like the very vague vibes that I got from reading the synopsis, but I again don't want to read more of it. But I liked the cover. It's very simple, it's very straightforward thriller cover, and I'm here for that. And just from what I've heard about her as an author, I feel like this is one that I'm going to really enjoy. So the anticipation is high for this. It's high, and I hope it doesn't let me down. And then we have an author whose books have kind of hit every end of the spectrum for me, and that's How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. This publishes on January 17th, I believe, and I'm very much looking forward to this. I have loved some of Grady Hendrix's books. I loved My Best Friend's Exorcism. I thought The Southern Guide to Slaying Vampires was okay, and then I DNF'd Final Girl Support Group. So we literally have books across the board, but I'm still looking forward to it. I love a haunted house vibe, and I love the idea of people coming back to have to sort out family members' issues, and that's like such a relevant thing, but I just love that trope in books. It's just one of my favorites. So I'm very much looking forward to this. This is actually going to be a book troop pick, so already have plans on reading it, and I'm very excited. My only like hiccup really with Grady Hendrix is his books are
So long.
He does not know how to do short horror. And like with My Best Friend's Exorcism, it worked. But the other two, I feel like it didn't really work. And this book is 400 pages, like this new one. So I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm cautiously optimistic, but only time will tell. We have 2 left for January, and this next one, it's the cover that sucked me in. It is All Hallows by Christopher Golden. This cover, oh my god, this creepy ass jack-o'-lantern vibe. Oh, it's stunning. I'm obsessed with it. Also, the first line and like the tagline for this is 80s nostalgia and being compared to Stranger Things. So like really between the cover and that's really all I needed to know. This is like an automatic pickup for me just from that alone. But it gets better because this also takes place Halloween night. So like I'm debating when I should read this. I don't know if I should wait until October to read this, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. But it also takes place in Massachusetts. And like, hi, I live in Massachusetts. So that just like sucked me in even more. I was like, are we getting like Salem vibes here? Like, what is happening? I'm very excited. And this, all I know besides those things is that it follows 2 families over Halloween night and some shit goes down. And I'm, again, not reading the entire synopsis. I don't want to know. I do not want to know. This one publishes January 24th, but again, I do not know when I'm going to read this. I don't know if it's going to be a read it in the winter or if we're gonna save it for fall. I feel like it feels right to save it for Halloween, but like that just seems so far away. But this cover is incredible. And like this is one of those books where regardless if I like it or not, I need this cover in my collection. And then the last one in January should be no surprise to anyone, and that is Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun. I have loved the first 2 books in the Finley Donovan series. The first one is definitely by far superior, of course. The second one was good. I thought the ending was a bit ridiculous and like over the top, which is not necessarily like a bad thing, but it just is like, I mean, if you know the vibes of these books, you know. It was almost like just like an eye roll and just kind of funny. So I'm excited to see where the characters go in this one, what's happening between Finley and Vero, and what kind of shenanigans they get up to. I love them as a dynamic duo. It's perfect. But I'm not going to spoil anything else in case you haven't read the other 2. I'm not going to say anything about other characters, but I'm just excited to see where they go. Like, what else could possibly happen to these 2, you know? Like, they just, shit seems to find them, and I'm excited. I will say, I'm not thrilled about this green. I feel like it's not going to pair well next to the other 2 in like a collection. I could be wrong. Maybe it's different in person, but this one, it's like throwing me for a loop of it a little bit. I feel like it doesn't match at all, and it's like completely throwing me off. I'm a perfectionist. I like when the series match. This one publishes January 31st, so I am very much looking forward to popping by Barnes & Noble the day this comes out, getting myself a copy, and like diving into this and making this like my first read of February. I cannot wait. Moving on to February. So far, I have only seen 2 in February that are like standouts for me. So this list might end up growing depending upon what I see over the next month or so. But so far, there's only 2 in February. And the first one is The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. This one publishes on February 21st. And this cover just screams winter thriller. So I think this is going to be the perfect book to kind of wrap up the wintry season, and I'm very excited for it. I love this neon green too. I know some people don't like it. I've seen a few people being like, I'm not really sure. I think it looks cool. I'm here for the neon green on this cover. This one is a psychological suspense, which sometimes is hit or miss for me. Sometimes I enjoy it, sometimes I don't, so we will have to see. And from what I've seen about this one follows an author who's kind of convinced that like her writing dreams are over, and she gets a once-in-a-life opportunity to go to a writing retreat for like this famous author. And when she gets there, she realizes that her rival is here, and then also there's a bit of a contest going on for whoever can like finish a novel during the writing retreat. They'll get this like grand prize. I forget what it is. I didn't read it that closely, clearly, but that just sounds really fun. It also is giving like major like trapped somewhere vibes, which I imagine is going to happen. So kind of trapped in this place, almost giving me like Shining vibes, like way less serious. I don't know, it just sounds like it's going to be fun, and really this cover is what drew me in. I was like, that's giving winter, but I love this neon green, and I like books that follow an author, so it just sounds like a good time. And then the other one is also a book that is part of a series that I haven't read yet. So again, all of these, I'm like, this is the year that I'm going to read this series. Luckily, this one's only a duology, so totally doable, but the one that is coming out in February is Immortality, a love story. This is part of the Anatomy duology by Dana Schwartz. This one publishes on February 28th. And again, I haven't read the first one, but from what I've heard, it's absolutely amazing. I believe it's a young adult series as well. Young adult, fantasy, historical, also a little bit dark academia type, like mild dark academia vibes. So I'm excited. These covers are absolutely stunning. So I'm excited for the second one. I feel like, again, this is like totally my vibe this year, but I'm going to wait for this one to publish and then read them kind of in tandem. Apparently, it's my year to do that. Now let's move on to March. There's only a few in March as well, and the first one is Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jessie Sotanto, I believe is how you say her name. This is publishing on March 14th. This is the same author as A for Aunties, which I have not read, but I love cozy mystery. And what sucked me into this one was, again, the cover with like this old lady peeping. Stop. You follow an old lady that's like in everybody's business, and I'm showing up for it. That's one of the things I loved about the Thursday Murder Club.
I love it so much.
And really all I know about this one is like, you know, she's just kind of doing her thing at home. She's surfing the web, keeping tabs on her son, who is very much Gen Z, and like pretending that she's in the know. And she lives above her shop in San Francisco, I believe is where she lives. And she goes downstairs to one day find a man murdered in her tea shop, which like is how every cozy mystery seems to start off, especially if there's one revolving around food. But I do not care. This cover, I'm in. You mention cozy mystery, old lady, murder in a tea shop. I'm here, sign me up. I don't need to know anything else. And then we have The London Seance Society by Sarah Penner, who is the same author as The Lost Apothecary, which I read, 2021, I believe? And I freaking loved it. I thought it was so fun. I thought it was such a good time. It was like a light fantasy, but also being a mystery, and just like very much remind me of like the vibes of Sherlock Holmes, almost like Enola Holmes vibes, but it just was a good time, and I had a blast, and I really like her writing, so I'm very much looking forward to this one. And this one, I'm going to read out a little bit of the synopsis for you because I cannot. This just is like so on point with Sarah Penner's like vibes and everything. So it takes place in 1873 at an abandoned chateau in Paris, and a dark seance is about to take place led by acclaimed spiritualist Vondeline Dallaire. I don't speak French, you guys. Clearly. Known worldwide for her talent in conjuring the spirits of murder victims to ascertain the identities of the people who killed them, she is highly sought out after by widows and investigators alike. Our main character comes to Paris to find out answers about her sister who died, but like you get the spiritual vibes. You have the spirits of the murderers. Oh my god. I cannot wait. The vibes of this are going to be immaculate. I love this cover so much. If I didn't already say, this publishes on March 7th, and I'm so looking forward to it. And then lastly, we have The Golden Spoon by Jessa Maxwell. This is set to publish on March 7th as well. This one intrigued me for so many reasons. First of all, I love the cover. I think it's so clean, simple, but like so intriguing to the eye. Secondly, there's a baking competition.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
Thirdly, it's already being adapted for a show on Hulu, has not even come out yet. Tell me how that works. I do not know, but that's very intriguing. I mean, who knows when the show's going to actually come out, but I just find that so interesting that like this book hasn't even come out yet and it's already being adapted and in the works. Fascinating. So from what I know about this one, like I said, it takes a place on the set of a baking competition. Things are happening, you know, they're going about their season. Some like friendly sabotage starts happening, replacing ingredients for things, but then all of a sudden someone shows up dead. And it just goes from there. And like I said, I mean, I don't really need to know more than that. It just sounds so fun. So we have like the thrilling vibes. It sounds kind of like it's gonna be a cozy mystery, but maybe a hint more serious. I don't know. But it just like, this cover makes me feel like it's a little bit more serious. This isn't like cozy mystery vibes on a cover, but all of that premise sounds cozy to me. So it's very confusing. Regardless, I cannot wait to read this one. Like I said, baking competition, I'm here. I watch all of those shows. I'm a sucker for it, especially Great British Bake Off. Like, it's my favorite thing in the world. I love it so much. And again, just the fact that this is already being adapted, like, so interesting to me. So I cannot wait to dive into this in March. That is it for my list. So those are all of the books that I am most anticipating for January, February, and March of this year. I'm sure that there are ones that I have missed or that have slipped through the cracks. So if there's one that you've seen that you think that I would like, please leave it as a comment below. Or if you are excited about any of these or you learned something new today, definitely comment. I would love to chat with you about all things books. I cannot wait. I cannot pick which one I'm most looking forward to. All I know is that it's going to be an incredible reading year, and I'm so excited to share it with all of you. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe if you have not already. Turn on the bell so you never miss a video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!
With you and I, the future